Welcome to AgePotential TV. I'm Lori Campbell, your host, gerontologist, and advocate of your best life, here to introduce you to an emerging trend called Age Potential. Here's to living out your age potential. Do you know someone who is happy living a life they love? Do you believe people like this have always been that way? Chuck Lenzen is here to tell you his outlook on life was not like it is today. In fact, Chuck shares he was a classic pessimist at one time. The dictionary defines a pessimist as a person who habitually sees or anticipates the worst or is disposed to be gloomy. Welcome, Chuck.
Thank you.
I can't imagine you a pessimist. Take us back to that time in your life when you were, in your words, a classic pessimist.
It was right after I turned 40 in the early 1970s. One day my wife and I were driving along in the car and she turned and looked at me and she said, "You know something? You're the most bitter, cynical person I have ever met." And this woke me up, got me thinking, okay, do I have to remain a pessimist or can I change this? And it dawned on me that I should definitely do some changing because this was not a nice way to age and grow older.
Mm-hmm. So give us some insight. What was Chuck the pessimist like?
Bitter, cynical, always looking on the bad side.
So was there a specific incident that kind of sparked this negativity?
Yes, I think so. I go back probably to my first marriage actually, and she and I ran away and got married, and it lasted from April to June, and she walked off and left me. And probably why it did not affect me at the time, I feel it probably did have a negative effect on my outlook, and I turned into being more bitter and cynical.
Rightly so. I mean, that would be hard. That would be a hard thing to go through. But what you're saying basically is anytime that we let that bitterness fester, for all of us, any of us, no matter what we go through, it would probably turn into negativity.
Well, I think that I didn't realize at the time that it affected me quite as adversely as I thought, but obviously it's something that I kept inside, and it did fester, and it seemed for a while to get worse before it got better. Mm-hmm. And then when I finally did decide to do something better, my life got better.
Wonderful. Well, how did you go from being a classic pessimist to being more optimistic?
Just by trying to feel happy in the morning, trying to do various different things that were good for me and good for the people I met, without actually letting them know it was something that I was doing purposely.
Can you give us some insight on what specific things that you did that brought you to this new outlook you have?
Well, I was feeling more, concentrating more on what I was doing from day to day and the effect that it had on my friends and my family. I just liked the idea. I found that I was much happier to start out the day being happier rather than being negative and not looking at the bright side.
Mm-hmm. So what specific things did you try to do in the morning that you didn't do, earlier on in your life?
Well, I developed the habit of getting up in the morning and good mood or bad mood, mm-hmm. I walk into the bathroom and I look in the mirror and smile. And sometimes I would just say, "Good morning. What kind of a day are you going to have today?" Then it got to the point where I decided that, hey, it was a good thing for me to just be able to turn, get out of bed, put my feet on the floor. It was another plus day. It didn't work that way all the time, but it worked that way more times than it didn't. I just liked being alive, and it was good. I found that I was having a better effect on my friends and my family too.
Mm-hmm. You also shared at an earlier time that we visited that you also started meditation, and you really felt that has really helped you. How? Could you share?
Meditation, it's called transcendental meditation, helps to ease stress, makes you a little bit more laid back. I don't look at you're very seldom, if ever, looking at the bad side of life. You're more apt, and you mellow. And you find that each day that you get older is a plus day, and it's a day that you can really relish being alive. Maybe some bad things happen, sometimes they don't. But if you look at somebody and smile, they can either say one of two things. What's he up to? Or, hey, maybe it's in just a good mood. Mm-hmm. That works very well.
Well, I think you're onto something about, I know the smiling thing. Ironically, I just came across a research article that actually said because of the fact that our brain is indifferent if something is imaginary or real, that if we force a smile for 17 seconds, it actually shifts our mood. And, you know, obviously you're sharing that's something that you started doing and you've seen a difference. So it is those small things that we can do. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Well, after my wife had said this, I started meditating in 1975. After about a year of meditation, I came into the kitchen one morning and she said, you know something, I can really notice the difference in the last year in your outlook in life. She says, this meditation has really obviously done something good for you.
Wonderful. That must have made you feel good.
Definitely, definitely. And I just decided to continue being that way and try to be that way more than I was being negative.
So also a conscious decision, I'm hearing
Definitely.
from you. Right. Well, neuroscience tells us whatever we focus on determines our perspective. So tell me how you think your focus of intention has changed over the years.
To the point I mentioned before, that you put your feet on the floor in the morning, and if you are supposedly in a bad mood, say, no, this is not going to be a bad mood. I'm going to change this around, and this is going to be a good mood and be another good day. I was a mail carrier. I used to have people would walk up to me and say, how come you're always smiling? And I'd say, hey, it's much easier than the other way, and it makes me feel good as well as you. Mm-hmm. I used to walk down the mall with my mail sack and my mail on my shoulder, and periodically I would run up, see someone walking down the street with a bad look on their face, and I would say, walk up to them and say, hi, good morning. And the majority of the time I did this with someone, they would walk away with a pleasant look on their face, and obviously I'd changed their mood from a bad one to a good one. So
not only have you changed, but now you're consciously trying to uplift other people's mood.
Definitely, definitely. I see people quite obviously in the morning. You look at them and they have a bad look on their face, and quite frequently I live in an apartment complex. I'll see them and say, hi, good morning, and it's amazing the number of times I'll get smiles back rather than a bad look.
Yes, pleasant words bring pleasant responses.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But it would boil down to that once I realized the type of person I was and I wanted to change, it was not an overnight thing. It was a good period of years. And I think it was culminated in the fact that I got into meditation and started meditating twice a day, and that definitely made a good effect in my life.
And do you still meditate to this day?
Twice a day for 20 minutes each time.
You do?
Definitely.
Okay. Definitely. Wonderful. Well, give us some insight Chuck, the optimist today, like what do you like today versus we know kind of what you were as a pessimist?
I'm a jazz fan. Mm. I love music. I sing, this is my 44th year in singing in my church choir. Mm-hmm. I sing with a group called the Minneapolis Southside Singers, who I've been with for almost 17 years. And to me, music is a big thing in my life. And I tell everyone that I tell about it that my car doesn't run on gasoline, my car runs on music. Sure, I got to put gas in it, but it's what keeps it going is the music.
So in other words, when you're driving along, you've got that music cranked?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Not really high, just loud enough to hear me. So it's not a distraction.
What do you think music does for you?
Uplifts you, makes you happy. It has a calming effect, I think, too.
It sounds that you even realize that you have become much more accepting, more calm. Mm-hmm.
More patience, too.
More patience.
Definitely.
Wow, something we all aspire to have?
I was quite an impatient person for a long time, but I find now I'm tolerating more things that make me impatient. Right? So it's just a good thing.
Well, your life experience, Chuck, really challenges the people who choose to believe that people who are happy with a positive disposition were born that way.
Not at all.
What would you say to them?
I'd say to them, if you're in a bad mood, just walk into the bathroom like I do and look in the mirror and smile. Even say good morning to yourself and smile. But I think that the main thing that is that you yourself are the one that controls your life. If you influence other people to do the same thing, then it's better for them as well as for you.
Mm-hmm. So in other words, we're responsible for our own selves.
Exactly.
Right, right. The people that you hang around with, has that drastically changed, or?
I think it has with some, yes. Not everybody is going to change. Some of the people you encounter have been that way all their life, and they don't realize that they can change if they want to.
Right, right. Chuck, how do you think that this drastic change in outlook has affected your aging journey?
Well, I'm 83 years young, and I don't think that I would have gotten this far, this well, without having a positive attitude. But I've said many times that the strongest thing in your body is your mind. Mm-hmm. And whatever you make your mind up to do, that you can do. Anything. Mm-hmm. And I look at things that happen during the day and say, I could have made that better. Or what can I do to make that better? And this works well.
And you also shared, you also made some other changes in your life since you've also adjusted your outlook.
Well, I quit smoking in 1974, mm-hmm. and I was close to a 3-pack a day when I quit.
Okay.
And then approximately 4, maybe 5 years after that, I decided to quit drinking, mm-hmm. with the exception of maybe a glass of beer or a glass of wine. Mm-hmm. And I consumed a fairly good amount of alcohol for a while, mm-hmm. until I decided to get rid of that too. Because I've heard that alcohol kills your brain cells, and I wanted to keep what I had.
That's a good motivator, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Absolutely. Well, you are a beacon of hope. I tell you what, because we now know that we have the power to make small but significant changes in our own lives that can enhance our quality of life.
Definitely. But you yourself are responsible for it.
Thank you. I totally agree. But what an empowering message you have, because you really bring the message out that, you know, no matter where we've been, the choices we've made, we can, from this moment on, we can change them. Exactly. And choose something different. Sure. So thank you. Thank you for being that beacon of hope, and thank you for sharing your story.
Well, thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. If you found this interview to be helpful and informative, like it, share it, tweet it, send it to your friends, and if you want to subscribe to receive future episodes like this, go to AgePotential.com and subscribe there. Until then, keep smiling.